Southern Governors' resolution offered no solution, presidency says. All right. The President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, has said that the resolutions reached by the Southern Governors, which placed a ban on open grazing in their region, offered no solution to the clashes between farmers and herders. This is as he expressed a strong resolve to address the conflict of herders and farmers in a sustained and lasting manner that should lead to the emergence of a permanent solution to the frequent clashes between them, as well as the associated problem of the gun-wielding killer herdsmen. The senior special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, disclosed this in a statement titled President Buhari Okay's Deep-Rooted Solutions to Herdsmen Attacks and Clears Way for Ranching and Revival of Forest Reserves. According to Shehu, the president had approved a number of specific measures to bring a permanent end to the frequent skirmishes as recommended by Alhaji Sabo Nanono, the Minister of Agriculture, in a report he submitted, and the president signed off on it back in April, well before the actions of the Southern Governors Forum, which attempt to place a ban on open grazing and other acts of politicking intended by signatories to demonstrate their power. But then why did we not hear about it? Why is it that until the Southern Governors have done something, that is when you want to show that, oh, the president has approved prior, because again, you're not even going into details of what the actual projects or measures are that the president signed off and approved that will be taken as it was signed in April. So why is it that it is now when the Southern Governors have done something which is actually it's clearly effective? So the time you're meant to do something, you didn't do it, and now other leaders are doing it for you, and now you want to discredit what they're doing? I don't understand that. Doesn't make sense. It is very clear that there was no solution offered from the resolutions to the herder-farmer clashes that have been continuing in our country for generations. So then what is your own plan? You that you are saying, okay, fine, the Southern Governors, they didn't, their plan has no resolution and all that. So what is your plan? What do you think? What are you planning to do? Nothing. Wow. So, but the citizens of the southern states, indeed citizens of all states of Nigeria, have a right to expect their elected leaders and representatives to find answers to challenges of governance and rights, and not to wash their hands of hard choices by instead issuing bans that say, not in my state. It is equally true that the announcement is of questionable legality, given the constitutional rights of all Nigerians to enjoy the same rights and freedoms within every one of our 36 states, regardless of the state of birth or residence. Right. But then, what do you have to say to that? The fact just remains that until when you see is the backfiring for me, because I don't understand where all this is coming from. Because if you had a plan to actually, squash the beef, I'd say, between the herders and the farmers, then why did you not implement anything? Why are you trying to undermine what the Southern Governors have done, which a ban on open grazing? Can you go clearer? Do you know what open grazing is? So let's look at what the comments section says. Someone says, criticism that promotes evil agenda to destabilize the whole nation. And open grazing is a primitive idea no longer visible in a civilized country. Would you say it's primitive? At the end of the day, whatever methods you need to work, and as long as they're effective, absolutely. The fact is, your business should not trespass or be at the detriment or the expense of another person. You can't just go into somebody else's land with the idea that you own it and it's one Nigeria, therefore you have a right. What do you mean? Because those people there, they bought that land, they legally own that land. So it's like, what do you mean by it's justified for you to go? Because again, it's like open grazing is a different thing if you buy a huge piece of land and it's open grazing there. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess that's just what it is, to be honest. Again, an open grazing in this context as well is also just moving round, as Nigerians would describe it, like an anywhere belly face kind of mentality, where we just go with the flow, and wherever there's land or anything, we'll just use that to our advantage, Someone says I'm wondering what went through Lugard's mind when he was amalgamating southern and northern Nigeria. Two completely different people. This union is a curse. We are better off as separate countries. Let the core north have their own country and run it the way they deem fit. We just can't coexist. Absolutely. The fact that the word coexist is used in this sentence showed how divided we are. Because when you say coexist, you already suggest that there's a difference. And so it's like because if you already won, there's no reason for you to coexist. If you get what I mean. And so it's like, what was going through Lugard's mind? Well, for Lugard, after conquering, the south was actually the first to conquer, to be very honest, and then the northern protectorate, which is actually the whole of northern Nigeria and a bit of my modern day borders with Nigeria as well, like other countries. That whole southern part, he actually like properly colonized. I mean, that was a brutal war. As in, if on Netflix, if you go watch Journey of an African Colony, you literally know what happened. It was brutal. It was such a brutal war. And so obviously, with all the weapons and all that, he defeated or took over by force the land of the northern people. And the fact was, as time went on, they were not sustaining themselves. They were not as industrious. I think the Royal British Company, they were earning a lot more from the southern Nigeria than the north, and they just felt like, what, as a being a colonizer, we don't have to be sending funds to colonies. They should take care of themselves. In fact, they should remit funds to us. That is the mentality. And so joining them as one body basically makes sure that funds are transferred from the south to the north, so the north is able to sustain themselves. And of course, that was an avenue for them to even make more money from taxes and all that, like colonization tax, literally. So that's basically the context, to what was going through Lugard's mind in theory, as in with the evidence that we have and paperwork. That's all we know. But of course, there might be more things going through his mind. But again, that just goes into more research. And again, it is good that we ask questions like this, because this is what we're meant to be doing. So yeah. Someone says hypocrisy, still attempting to collect people's land for herdsmen. It has failed in the past and it will still fail. Animal rearing is a private business. Ranching is the only solution. Because logically it is. That's it. No more discussion on this. Put what you think about it in the comment section below. And don't forget to like and subscribe.